listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Every single day, something's gonna come your way, good or bad. You don't need to hang your head, gotta make a move instead. Don't be mad, there's always a way to get everything the positive in your life. Nothing can stop you now, that's the way we live now. 'Cause life is so good, go open up the doors and live that good life. Just want you to do all that you can do. Every day to help somebody live that good life. That good life. La la la.
Hello, best friends from opposite ends. This is G.O.ODLife June and my lovely co-host.
Hey everybody, this is Shay Miminger.
And you are listening to The Good Life. TGL promotes a commitment to a lifestyle of resourcefulness. This is a movement. We are about celebrating the innovators, the risk takers, the go-getters, the movers, the shakers, those who go open other doors for themselves and ultimately for others. We call them our do-gooders. Who are you? Our listening audience, of course.
That's right, and we are broadcasting live from the GoPro Radio Network in Inwood, New York City. Today is June 17th. Can you believe it?
I can believe it.
OMG. And we always want to take the time out to thank our supporters, our community and families for their positive energy and tangible support to this vision. We never take it lightly, the power to influence, the power to inspire and empower. And as always, as you receive it, you got to pay it forward, everybody.
That's right.
Do-gooders, our lines are always open. You can call us right now at 347-838-8917. That number, again, if you missed it, is 347-838-8917. So listen up. What's good?
Child. People are having all kinds of epiphanies.
You miss a day, you miss a lot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling really good about life.
Yes.
I'm very clear on who I am.
All right.
Are you, Shay?
I'm extremely clear.
You are?
I'm very,
That's
very
good.
clear.
But every day we get a little bit clearer, though.
That's right.
I will say every day we get a little bit clearer.
Clarity is key.
Clarity is key. Understanding yourself is key. Making sure that other people understand who you are in the world is key, right?
Yes.
We're supporters of that.
Very much
We're
so.
definitely supporters of making sure that your yes means yes and your no means no, and that you are not
Teetering on the maybe.
teetering.
There's
We
no
don't like the
such
50
word.
shades of gray areas in our lives.
I don't like
The
them.
older I get, the clearer I want my words and my actions and my thoughts to be aligned.
Right.
Isn't that right?
This is true. This is
Okay.
very true.
What about you? What's good, Shay?
Well, I went on a date.
Hallelujah!
Turn up now. Turn up.
So what happened?
It was very, very nice.
It
The
was?
gentleman was a gentleman, and I, of course, was always a lady.
I have questions.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. He called you and set up the date?
Well, it was a mutual kind of, we must meet up. Let's do it.
Okay,
this
you
weekend.
decided to meet up.
Yes,
Okay,
we do.
okay.
Yes, we decided that, it was time to stop playing around and finally see each other face to face.
Okay. Oh!
Yes.
Backstory to this, but that's all right. We'll see you in another time. So
It was very nice.
Okay, so wait a minute. He knew how to carry on a conversation.
Yes. In fact, we talked about a lot of things that we have discussed here on The Good Life.
Really?
I was impressed. He did his homework.
He did.
Yes.
Wait, so he listened to some of our shows?
He's listened to a show.
And he thinks you're sane?
He thinks that I'm cute.
Oh, get up. Okay.
Hey, everybody.
Shay done went and got her life over the weekend. So wait a minute. Okay. So there was conversation back and forth.
Yes.
He was able to sustain dialogue.
Yes.
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 He was interesting.
I didn't have to bring up a subject at all.
You didn't. Okay.
It was flowing.
And you weren't forced to feel like, because as women sometimes, we just as women, especially if we like somebody or we find them attractive or maybe they're a good catch, we unintentionally sell ourselves while we're meeting with someone.
Yes.
Did you feel like you had to sell yourself?
No, I wasn't on the campaign for presidency.
Thank you, Lord.
This wasn't, Hillary 2016. It was definitely just, here I am.
In all my glory.
In all my glory. Look at me. And you know, I wasn't on the parade boat, even though it was Puerto Rican Day weekend. I wasn't on the parade float. I didn't have to posture myself.
There was no campaigning going on.
There was none at all.
And he
was just like
the
embraced
glory.
it, and he, you know.
Was there laughter involved?
It was lots of laughter.
Was there batting of the eyes involved?
I was batting them, honey. I had a lot of mascara on.
I have a question.
I might have an answer.
When it was time to
depart,
did he hesitate to pull out his wallet?
Oh no.
Oh!
Oh no. Oh no.
So there wasn't like, okay, here's the wait, let me show you. So it wasn't like, okay, thank you for coming out, here's the bill, and then you sat there and it was like,
no, in fact, because it was one of those situations where it was a mutual agreement, we both brought out our fiduciary.
Well, that's fine.
And then he beat me to the punch.
Oh, that's good.
I was happy. But, you know, it was a mutual thing, so we both brought out our fiduciary, you know, collection
Did
plates.
you make additional plans for another evening?
Not at that moment.
Okay, but did it look like?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it looks like there's going to be a part two.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Because I'm a little closed off right now. I'm just
right.
No, but I'm glad.
Thank you.
That you have stepped out.
Thank you.
And you because
do-gooders.
Let me tell you something real quick about Shay. I'm gonna tell you something real quick. This lovely gentleman that she met,
yes,
she was talking about waiting like 6 months to actually see him philly. And I'm like, Shay, that's unreasonable for anybody.
Sure was.
So we had to get her together and say, 6 months is that's a little bit too much.
There's a gestation period. I still believe in it. There's still a gestation period. We had to
cook in the pot for a while.
We had to cook in the pot for a while.
Okay.
We didn't do the video as I had anticipated.
Okay.
But there was some conversation on the phone, and I definitely asked some pointed questions to find out if, in fact, you are an axe murderer. And I had to just ask some questions.
You can't wait till you're on a date to find out if
you're no. This was prior. This was before we decided to to meet for brunch, which was delicious.
I have a question though.
Yes.
Was he clear on who he was?
Yes, he's very clear.
Okay, because
he's very clear.
There's some things we need to discuss.
He's very clear.
He's very clear.
He's very heterosexual.
No.
And he's very, very much his culture.
Is he clear?
He's clear.
Okay, no.
Crystal. No. Too much clear. If you ask me, it was very clear.
Do-gooders, it's all fun and games here. It's all fun and games here. But there's some serious things that we have to discuss.
Yes.
Because
there's a situation at
hand.
Well,
lead us on in, Shay. Lead us on in.
There's no way to tiptoe in the tulips around this one.
We just gonna jump in the pool?
We just gonna jump in the pool. Because I was with my students yesterday at a wonderful resort, and there was a diving board, and the kids were just jumping in. They didn't even bounce on it. They just kind of ran and just flew in the pool.
All right,
and that's basically what I feel that we need to do, because we have a situation at hand, and there are some issues.
It's a very interesting situation. I'm glad that it has came up. I'm glad.
It's a very interesting issue. However, for me, I don't know if any of our do-gooders kind of sense it from my banter, but I'm very militant when it comes to certain things, and this is troubling me.
It's troubling. What is troubling to me, and do-gooders, basically, we're going to jump right in. What we're talking about is this whole controversy surrounding Rachel Dolezal, I hope I'm saying that correctly, yes, who is now the former NAACP chapter president of Spokane.
Yes, Spokane, Washington.
Mm-hmm. She's since stepped down, correct?
Yes.
After after it was exposed that she has been falsely representing herself as an African American or a woman of color in the world, and she's had a history of various events that are kind of contrary to certain statements that she's making now. She represents or says that she identifies as a black woman, but in the past she sued Howard University, my alma mater, Howard University for racial discrimination against her as a white woman, and this happened in her adulthood years, correct?
Right.
So there's some discrepancy there. And then out of this issue has been spawned the term transracial. I've never heard of the term transracial. Have you?
I have, but it wasn't used in this meaning.
Okay, how was it used?
It was used when a child who is or was in the foster care system was then adopted by a different race.
Okay.
And the terminology transracial was basically, because I did some research, we were definitely working hard in the tents trying to present the show. And basically there are books and classes on teaching families how to be transracial, where you're not black or white, you're not a white family raising a black child, you are a family raising an adoptive child. How to present this child into the family without there being any type of discrepancy or difference within the child and the rest of the family.
So I don't understand that, because to me, the bottom line of what you're talking about in terms of when you first heard this term transracial, speaking of it in that way almost implies that the child has to, the family has to kind of deny that there's a cultural sensitivity there in order to acclimate that particular child into the family, to the extent that there is no you're not presenting any psychological difference to that child in terms of who they are versus ethnically versus with the family.
Right, and I think it's the terminology was used so that the family nor the child felt that I'll use
felt like an outsider.
Right, exactly.
Okay, but I am not in support of whitewashing anyone of their culture.
Right, and
period.
I don't think that the approach is to whitewash or to completely nullify anyone's culture. It's to not make it such
prominence,
such a point of differentiation where this is the only.
I still don't understand.
Well, how can
I understand that. I understand what the intent is. But the intent, I understand the intent, because they're saying that they don't want to, having the differentiation would somehow, I guess the assumption would somehow traumatize that child, but to deny someone's culture just for the intent of acclimating them into, an environment, I think is just detrimental to that individual. But that's not how transracial is being used today.
Right, and that's not how it's being used and we'll talk a little bit. Maybe we'll talk about that in another show. But this definition, this definition of transracial is being thrown out to basically tug on the heartstrings of America, because we have just come freshly off of the heels of one of the most publicized transgendered transformations.
Right, with Caitlyn Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner.
Exactly.
And people have been liking this transracial phenomenon. I'm going to say phenomenon because I've never
not in this way.
Not in this way. Heard of this term, and so unfortunately, Rachel Dolezal has become the face,
the poster
child for this transracial.
Right.
I'm guessing it is a psychological complexity at this point.
Right.
The difference and I've spoken about this on Facebook, and I really want to give some information about, in terms of my understanding. And if we have any do-gooders that have any additional understanding or have anything contrary beliefs or anything that you want to share, please call us 347-838-8917. People have been liking transracial with transgender. Okay, this is my standpoint on it. With transracial, the issue is that they're leaving out the element of phenotype. Okay, just give you some information. phenotype. When I mention what a phenotype is, that is the physical expression of your genotype. So I have certain genes that render me having the color skin that I have, the nature of my curl pattern to my hair, the way that my eyes are. So what you see is my phenotype, which is the physical expression of my genotype. Now, with this whole idea of transracial, it comes with a sort of privilege. And what I mean by privilege is, I'll give you a very concrete example. I don't have the privilege of walking into a room and saying, I'm Asian.
Well, you know what?
And expect, coming in looking how I look, and expect to be treated as such. Why? Because my phenotype, I'm not able to fluidly move through that particular ethnic group because I can't, my phenotype does not allow me to do so. Whereas with Rachel Dolezal, which is what I say, is that because of her phenotype, she was able to do that. And for many years, able to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? She had the privilege of being able to do that. Why are you looking that way, Shay?
Because I am just thinking about all of the workshops and lectures that I've sat under about the migration of people all over the world and how the certain people may not look ethnically like that particular location, but they're able to mirror, as you were saying.
I know, but they did not abuse.
No, they didn't.
They did not abuse the fact
right.
that they did not abuse the transracial. This whole, and I'm gonna, transracial is only socially effective if the individual phenotypically looks ethnically ambiguous. And when a person knows that they do look that way and abuse that privilege. See, the issue is not. I hear a lot of people on Facebook saying, "Well, you know, Rachel Dolezal, well, at least she took up the banner for the Black cause, and she did more than most people would do." And that is all the well. And listen, this is not a witch hunt against Rachel Dolezal. This is really because the Good Life is about looking at things from a positive perspective, always trying to find what the open door is in the situation. And the open door is, this is an opportunity for us all to figure out how we can be more honest in our own lives.
Right. And we're going to get a little bit more into that. We're going to take a break. This is The Good Life on GoPro Radio Network. Go get it, everybody.
All right.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head. What if you can have an entire team of skilled professionals to help your business grow? Admin, accounts, marketing, and more, but only pay for the exact amount of support you need at virtually the same cost you'd pay for one full-time employee. With Virtual Professions, you can. One contact, one number gets you a team of virtual professionals for exactly what your business needs. It's 1-888-315-VPRO. That's 1-888-315-8776. Or online at www.virtualprofessions.net. Virtual Professions Incorporated, because you mean business.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, service, talent, or something important to say, now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 212-696-8562 or visit www.goproradio.com, and you'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your very own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head. You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
Hey everybody, you are listening to The Good Life with Adiaga and Shay. And if you're just tuning in, we are diving deep.
Very deep.
We are on the deep end of the pool of this conversation, talking about transracial identity. Is it really a thing, or is it just something that we are kind of creating to justify?
I think there definitely is I don't want to say psychosis. There is a psychosis. There is something behind it.
There is.
And we, off record, we were definitely talking about this turned on its head. So go ahead.
I really feel like, this whole situation is being turned on its head.
You said you were angry.
I'm very angry.
Tell us why you're
angry.
And
I'm concerned because I know that there have been people who have portrayed to be a particular race to be, and I'll just say it.
In antebellum South.
In antebellum South, yeah, people of color who, had fair skin and slender noses and maybe had light eyes or a different texture of hair. In order to survive and take care of their families, they had to pretend that they were white. And a lot of them lived their lives like they were Caucasian. There are to survive because they knew that if they, lived a life as an African American, they would surely die. Mm-hmm. There are people still now in current 2014 who are of Hispanic descent, that if you tell them that they're African, they will tell you heck no.
Some of them will not acknowledge their African roots.
And it's not even about whether or not they're dark skinned or light skinned, because I know some dark skinned ones that have told me, no, I'm white. And I'm like, in what country are you white?
I don't know.
And I feel like we have been taught to dislike ourselves so much. And then on the other side of the coin, there are people who try to be like us by getting lip injections, butt injections, thigh injections, getting tanning,
But the issue with Rachel Dolezal is they're saying that, well, at least she took on the cause.
Let me tell you something. You don't need to be African American. You don't need to be Mexican, Hispanic, Chinese.
To be down with the
NAACP. Let's make that clear. So if any of our do-gooders thought that the NAACP was a black-only society, stop it right now.
There were many white people that marched, that took part in the March on Selma, that were there.
Exactly.
In the civil rights
there were people of all races. And the NAACP stands for the the Association for the Advancement of Colored People. That means anyone who is any shade,
who's down for the advancement of colored people. It was actually a social justice, and it still is a social justice organization to help prevent the mistreatment of people, who have been otherwise marginalized by society. So the question is why? Why did Rachel Dolezal feel as if she had to portray and represent herself as a woman of color in order? Why did she have to do this? That's the number question. The number one question. The number two question is, why did her parents feel compelled to out?
Well, there's a couple of things that have been presented as this story has developed. She has said that she has known or felt that she identified more with the African American race since she was a young child.
But when she was an adult, she sued Howard University for racial discrimination against her as a white woman.
Well, this is where it gets where
it gets murky.
Right.
And so when I say psychosis, the psychology behind this is that, when we're looking at transracial, the extent that that a person can move so fluidly by nature of their phenotype, by nature of how they look, they can move so fluidly through various ethnic circles that they psychologically take on the cultural burdens of that ethnic group. That's the psychosis of it, and that is what needs to be examined a little further, because that can be very real.
Now, where the issue with her parents and them basically outing her was, there was a photo of Miss Dolezal and a unidentified African American older male. And in that photo, she identified him as, or described him rather, as her father.
Okay, so all this time, has anyone seen her? We've seen her parents now because of the video.
She distanced herself from her family.
No one really had ever saw
No
her.
one had
Did
ever
they ever come to any functions?
No.
Okay.
So she basically created this life for herself.
Okay.
And she, her family had adopted African American children.
But they are German and Czechoslovakian?
Scandinavian. Czech. They are Czech.
Czech, okay.
Czech and German.
Okay.
Which, for those of you who are historians, German people are one of the closest to the African race. So which kind of explains her phenotype, as you said, because of her features. They're very, very defined. So she, had siblings who were African American, but she said that prior to her family adopting these children, she felt that way.
Okay.
So there's a lot of questions like, well, were you trying to be African American because you had these, younger brothers that were, of the race? And
but it's one thing to say, I feel akin to this ethnic group, and that be what it is. But it's another thing to say, I am that. So some trickery involved because you feel that you are, and that's fine. That's fine. Anybody is welcome to say, I feel akin to African people. I feel akin to people of color. I feel akin to the African American community. We welcome all.
Right.
We've always been a welcoming people.
And I think that's part of the problem.
We've always been a welcoming people. The problem, this is where the violation comes in. When it is alleged that you have made financial gains from the misrepresentation of yourself in the world, when you have possibly applied for scholarships over the years as an African American. There are some platforms that are available to you. There's certain grants I can apply for. There's certain things I can apply for because I'm a black woman. Okay, so now when you start getting paid speaking engagements on the fact that this is who you are, right? Because you're saying that you have lived your life. You are a black woman in the world, and these are the different experiences that you've had of discrimination. You are representing. So now you have platforms available to you on that basis alone. You have been afforded various, like I said, scholarships, different things that she has. The fact.
Let's just focus.
This is where the violation.
Let's just focus on where she was when this bomb dropped. The woman was the president
of the NAACP. Now, but wait a minute now, because the NAACP is not going to say, and of course they're not. I agree that anyone can be the president. You don't have to necessarily be black to be a chapter president of one of their chapters.
Right. I'm not,
however,
right. I'm not talking about the actual organization. I'm talking about her social standing within that organization. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that she was the secretary. The woman was the president. Right. When this situation presented itself, she was at the highest
to the level.
She had matriculated to the level. Probably the highest level in that area for that organization.
And it makes one question. And listen, these things of she said that there was a noose or something left on her. She's have claimed. See, this is the thing now. So because now that this has come out, now everyone is questioning whether or not you've actually had these experiences. She very well could have had these experiences because the woman does. I've seen she has the hair texture. She very well looks like there's another woman. Was it Michaela Davis, who looks the same way, who's a light-skinned woman. So there's a lot of light-skinned women that look that way. So that are black women. So if she presented herself in the world, she very well could have had death threats and all of these things. But now because this lie has come out, now unfortunately it's like you crying wolf. Now everybody is questioning your experiences.
And I think that is the saddest part for me. That is the saddest part of this whole story, is that all of the accomplishments that she might have made, that she did make in her region, representing, people who are marginalized, people who are struggling and fighting for freedom and for their own civil rights. All of the accomplishments that she made, it has now been diluted down to a lie. Like,
is this a question of, is this woman a con artist? Is this an issue of, let's talk about colorism in America? Where does the debate, is this about self-love?
I think it brings up all of those things, because as the story develops and it unfolds and you start to see all of these different things about, her brother, the biological brother who has been, charged with molestation, and then one of her adoptive brothers then asked to be emancipated so that he could become her son. And it's just all of these different things. So yes, it brings up all of these conversations about self-love, about integrity, about, how do you view yourself? How do other people...
And this is what I want to tell the Rachel Dolezals of the world. Be who you are, and trust me, the world will accept you.
You don't have to lie.
The world will accept you. You don't have to be... she didn't have to do that to be down for the cause. And so let's just broaden this topic out. You don't have to be anything other than what you are for the world to accept you.
That's right.
You can pick up the flag for any cause and be any ethnic group, any sex, any sexuality you want to be.
Right.
You can be a backer of a cause and be exactly
right.
who you are
and
stand in your truth.
Exactly. And as my mother would say, you don't have to perpetrate a fraud.
You don't have to perpetrate a fraud to be down.
You don't.
Trust me, the people are very forgiving and people are very accepting.
And
thank God for the Caitlyn Jenners of the world that said, listen, I got one life.
Right. And people appreciate when others stand in solidarity with them. It's not about, do you have to look the part.
Right.
You can fight for rights for people that you may not necessarily, agree with it. But yes, I feel that these people, or this group of people, deserve to be treated in the same way that I am. So yes, I am going to stand in solidarity with them. I don't have to look like them. I don't have to act like them. And it was a conversation that I was having with my date about, well, if the police pull her over, then how will
Is she going to say?
Right.
I don't know. No one says, I'm black when the police pulls us over. I'm white when the police pulls us over.
The question was asked of her.
And
she said that she would say that she was black.
But that's not the question. The question is, would the police pull her over? See? No. But the question is, would the police pull her over?
According to what we're seeing, they may, because she has she has so magnificently
disguised herself in the world. And
so she has become a chameleon. She would, if in fact she was in an incident where the police were involved, she would get pulled over because she presents the way that she presents. Exactly. So it's not like she's Caitlyn Jenner saying that she's African American. No, she presents herself in a way that and basically she's saying that whatever comes with this,
because that's what needs to be examined. The extent that you have a white mother, you have a white father, and later on in your adulthood, see, it's one thing to say that you felt that way as a child, but later on in your adulthood, you're out in the world saying these things. Mm-hmm. You're out getting positions based on this knowledge you presented. Okay, and so to the extent that like I said, she's taken on the cultural burdens of this ethnic group, and I really think that this transracial phenomenon needs to be examined a little bit further.
It does.
It might just be added into the DSM. Who knows? I mean, we don't know.
We don't know, but we're going to talk a little bit more about this. We're going to take another break. This is The Good Life on the GoPro Radio Network. Go open up the doors, everybody. Let's go get it.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, service, talent, or something important to say, now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 212-696-8562 or visit www.goproradio.com and you'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your very own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
What if you can have an entire team of skilled professionals to help your business grow? Admin, accounts, marketing, and more, but only pay for the exact amount of support you need at virtually the same cost you'd pay for one full-time employee. With Virtual Professions, you can. One contact, one number gets you a team of virtual professionals for exactly what your business needs. It's 1-888-315-VPRO. That's 1-888-315-8776. Or online at www.virtualprofessions.net. Virtual Professions Incorporated, because you mean business. You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
And we're back. This is audiographer Isa and my lovely co-host.
Hey everybody, this is Shay Miminger.
This is The Good Life.
I'm still single.
So no, the question I had was why all of a sudden, what was the catalyst that made Rachel Dolezal's parents just take the rug and slide it from underneath her feet?
They said we are tired of you lying.
They wanted to be recognized.
They said we are tired of you lying.
They wanted to be stop putting us in the closet,
Stop
pull us
it.
out. I think
Stop
they
it.
wanted to be recognized.
I'm tired of acting like I'm dead.
No, because when she told, when she told the reporter her father got sick, something happened, he couldn't come to the meeting. It was something she said that happened to her father, or something happened, he wasn't able to come to the meeting or to the event. And the question that came in my mind was, how many times has that been told? How many times was her parents supposed to show up and some lie was told as to why they couldn't make it or whatever? So I think that particular interview possibly was the last straw. You said that there was a picture of her standing next to an older African American man that she said was like her father or was her father.
She said
that could have been.
She didn't say like.
That was a father.
Words of power.
Yeah.
She didn't say like this. She didn't say this was a father figure.
Oh, okay.
She said this is my father.
Yeah. So basically, I want to extend some love to Rachel. I really, really do, because to be outed like that and for something that could have been avoided. Who would have known? This is the thing. When you are not honest to yourself, I understand. Sometimes people don't want all of their lives put on Front Street. Everybody has something in their life that they just want to handle privately. We get it. We're human, and nobody is perfect. But something as simple as I'm black, I'm white. This was preventable. See, when you're not honest with yourself in the world about who you are, you rob yourself of the knowledge or the what ifs. What if I was honest about that? Would I have still achieved? Would I have still became the NAACP chapter president? Would the world would have accepted my message on equality? You rob yourself of the ability of, and going back to Caitlyn Jenner, even though I'm saying transracial, this whole thing is not the same as transgender, but I want to talk about Caitlyn Jenner very quickly. The reason why he said, I know I have umpteen children. I know I've been married umpteen times. I know I was the Olympic champion of XYZ. I know I've done these things. But I'm 60-something years old now, and I can't go into it makes me almost want to cry. I'm 60-something years old, and I cannot go into the ground without living my I have to do this. whatever it is. And I know my children may not understand, and I might be the laughing stock of whatever. I might be SNL's next skit, but I will not allow myself to go into the ground without saying who I am out loud and being proud of it and letting the cards and the chips fall where they may.
And I think that is the lesson that we do need to pull from this. Even though a lot of us who feel very passionately about this, I'm still struggling with it. I'm still struggling with the issue that you just brought up. But the meaning and the message that we definitely have to pull from that is, how are you living out your days? Yeah. What are you saying about yourself? How truthful are you being about yourself? And I think the thing that's most hurtful for me, me being an African American woman, and knowing how I've sat at my mother and my grandmother's feet and heard them talk about how women in their community or even themselves were treated. This is not something that you just wake up one morning and decide that you just, guess what? I want to be black. Because the black experience in America has not been, Langston Hughes said it best, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. And, and I understand that there are people who, want to attach themselves, whether it's through music or, there's another issue going on in the background with Tom Hanks' son. And there's so many different things. And, when Eminem first came out, there was a big controversy about him attaching himself to quote unquote black music or whatever. But he stayed true to who he was. And I feel that is what's troubling me so, is that knowing what my ancestors went through to just be who they were. They didn't have to lie about who they were.
It's a deeper issue than that. And
I know it's deeper.
I really want to say this, that the term, this blackness, it's not just my skin. It's not this whole thing about blackness is not something you can put on and take on and put off.
Right.
Blackness has nothing to do with how I wear my hair today. Has nothing to do with how low I'm a sag my. I don't understand how that got associated with us.
It's not.
But it's this thing where we are appropriating blackness with a look.
No, it's
not. And I think that's why people are getting angry with Rachel Dolezal, because it looks like she put on.
No, I think for me. And I don't know, and you can definitely, concur if you feel the same way. For me, it's because I come from a people who would not die. And it's deeper than just how I dress and how I wear my hair. It's about the fact that my people were brought here against their own will, and then someone can wake up one day and decide that they want to share within the experience, and then basically lie and trick people to feel attached emotionally, because we as African American people attach ourselves emotionally to each other. We do. So when you see someone who appears to be African American, it's not about what she looked like. It's the fact that
it's the experience.
It's the experience, and the fact that she shared in the struggle and working with the people or whomever was going, whatever was going on in Spokane, Washington.
The guys that she belonged to the group,
and so people attach themselves emotionally to her. It had nothing to do. My anger is not about her look. My anger was that you lied to those people. Those people trusted you. They trusted you, and I'm quite sure that, and I've been told that in Washington State, the racial climate is still very, very, very tense. That those people trusted you with their lives, and you lied to them. That's what I'm most upset about. I don't care about how she wore her hair and the braids that she wore down her back, and that she was at some function with some African dancers. I don't give a crap about all of that. What I'm concerned about is that we as people attach ourselves emotionally to people, especially when we feel that they are going to champion us and be there for us, and you lied.
What did Dame Dash call them? Culture vultures?
Yeah, culture vultures. You're a chatty patty. You're a chatty patty. Dang blasted. Chatty patty.
It's just, it's and all I want to say, and on my end, Because, in an African community, we work on energy. We work on, that emotional attachment. And so, like I said, you could still have been down. We would still have accepted you.
Exactly.
You didn't have to possibly, because we don't know if it's true, fabricate an event of I was discriminated against, or fabricate a story about someone left a noose on my, or whatever, all these things, because now those things are not in question.
Exactly.
And no one really knows now.
Exactly.
Okay, and so getting in on that experiences and saying, yes, that happened to me too, that's a violation.
Right.
And also making financial gains as under the guise that you belong to a particular ethnic group is also another violation. So that's kind of where the hurt lies there as well.
And I'm quite sure that for her family, having seen her say that someone is her biological father
is
when they're
another
not,
violation.
That's a huge violation.
Right.
That's a huge slap in the face. It's basically you're denying whether or not you are attached.
Are you ashamed?
Right.
This is the thing. Is she ashamed of her parents?
I don't know.
We don't know.
She has been estranged from them for years.
Because maybe this has been going on for years, and I guess they finally found an outlet was afforded to them, and they said,
enough is enough.
Enough is enough. And sometimes it's tough love. Listen, we're not going to allow you to keep going on this way. Get some help. I'm sorry we have to do this to you, but maybe this will be a call to action for you to start being honest. And hopefully this is a call to action for us all.
Right.
To start being honest to ourselves. I know there was a conversation, I won't really talk about it on air, but it was a conversation I had with my mother not too long ago. I was a child, and I had kept some things in, different things that happened to me, and I kept it, and I finally had to release it. I had to release it to my mom and say, this is, these are the things I went through, and these things I carried with me as an adult. Sometimes you got to release things in honesty, release things in truth, release it and understand that once you release it and you speak your truth, understand that God, the universe, whatever you believe in, will rise up to meet you and embrace you and heal you. But you'll never get that healing if you looking at yourself in the mirror and lying to yourself. You got to go to sleep with yourself. You spend the most time with yourself every day. At least let you be the one person you're not lying to. Please let yourself be the one person that you're not perpetrating a fraud to.
That you have to convince yourself every day
of a lie.
That the lie that you're telling is the truth. We're going to take one last break. This is The Good Life on GoPro Radio Network. Go open other doors, everybody.
Go get it.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head. What if you can have an entire team of skilled professionals to help your business grow? Admin, accounts, marketing, and more, but only pay for the exact amount of support you need at virtually the same cost you'd pay for one full-time employee. With Virtual Professions, you can. One contact, one number gets you a team of virtual professionals for exactly what your business needs. It's 1-888-315-VPRO. That's 1-888-315-8776. Or online at www.virtualprofessions.net. Virtual Professions Incorporated, because you mean business.
We interrupt this broadcast to bring you a great opportunity. If you have an event, product, service, talent, or something important to say, now is your chance. You can have your very own radio show. Whether you're just starting out or a veteran looking for a professional platform to enhance your presentation and following, the GoPro Radio Network is the premier place to cultivate and share new and exciting content. We can help you grow your audience and keep it growing long after your first broadcast. Now you have a voice. Call 212-696-8562 or visit www.goproradio.com, and you'll be amazed at how easy and affordable it is to have your very own professional radio show on the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head. You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
We're back. We're back.
Getting our life. Yo, listen. Look yourself in the mirror, do-gooders.
Yes. Take a
nice look. And we don't mean physically.
No.
We mean inward.
Search.
Turn that mirror inward.
Be introspective.
And be like, listen, I'm going to speak the truth in my life. I'm going to live my truth.
I need everyone to just kind of sweep out those cobwebs, though. Those falsehoods that you have been convincing yourself of, the little lies, the little white lies that you've been, trying to tell yourself to help you to go to sleep at night. Yeah. It's time to come clean.
Come clean. So really, some people really think that they love themselves.
And you don't.
And you really don't. You only love yourself when you get your hair done. Let's talk about it.
Come on.
Hold up. I'm really get in now.
Yes.
Let's really be honest. You only love yourself more after you leave the salon. You only love yourself more when you're in a relationship and somebody's telling you they love you.
Right.
You loved yourself a little bit more when you got a ring.
Right.
You loved yourself a little bit more when you got a promotion. You loved yourself a little bit more when you lost a little bit of weight. Let's be honest.
Right. Stop stunting.
Be honest.
Like, just be real. And it's
some people don't really love themselves and they're not honest. They think they do because they put on.
Right.
They got the accoutrement. They got everything they want, the accoutrements of life.
Right.
But they really don't. Without those things, they really won't feel like it's popping.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It's just really funny because I think about, how pop culture has pretty much infiltrated all of our lives. And we've become moving music videos, and we want to look the part and speak the part and act the part. And I'm telling you guys right now, do-gooders, I love you all, but this independent woman stuff, this I got my own, you all are convincing yourselves that you
don't need nobody, and you're going to be alone and on your own.
You're like a dog walking itself with the leash in its mouth.
Stop convincing yourself you don't need nobody. Stop lying.
Stop it. We all need a network. We're not saying for you to depend solely on one person, but be interdependent. Be able to stand on your own 2 feet, but also support someone else and vice versa. Like, it's just, be truthful. Be truthful. Stop trying to build this castle with this fort that you don't need this and you can do this and you're always lonely. You're always lonely. Just think about, I was talking to a girlfriend of mine and we were talking about how, women will push men away with just the things that they say about, well, I don't need you and this, that, and the other, and then you're upset when he doesn't call.
We all need some help, man.
We all do.
Just people in general. Just, stop telling yourself you're happy.
Right.
You know you're not happy.
Find the things that will help you to truly be happy.
I've spent a lot of time trying to find my own garden. Mm-hmm. What do I mean? Somebody I think it was a friend of ours, shout out Kevin Young.
That's
Kevin
right.
Young. Kevin Young.
6. What's up, 6? Sanchez Kev.
Kevin Young put something on Facebook. He said something about reciprocity. Mm-hmm. And people just don't give back.
Right.
The love they get or friendship they get or whatever it is that they get. And I said, I put on there, I don't expect that anymore. And it's so sad to say that, but I really, sometimes, you just, I put a lot of time and energy into finding my own garden. And what I mean by that is that sometimes when you plant, you don't reap exactly where you planted.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not expecting all there is to life from one person.
Right.
Or all there is to life. You got to find your flowers. Mm-hmm. Where that you got to gather them wherever they are.
Right.
But that takes time. That takes self-assessment. That takes energy. You got to live a little.
Right.
To figure that out. And some people got some things figured out, but are not making the moves that they need for those certain things to manifest in their lives. Things will manifest once you start being honest with where you are.
You have to be honest.
Honest about not being happy, honest about being lonely, honest about really not loving yourself, honest about feeling ugly, honest about whatever it is, honest about not having it together as a mom or as a dad or whatever it is.
But then taking those steps to then correct those wrongs. Don't just wallow in that and just say, oh, woe is me. Now, what are the things, and we've talked about this almost every episode of The Good Life. What are some of the things that you can do in order to now open those doors?
That's right.
You have to.
Listen, do-gooders, we hope. We enlightened you. We love you. And we always want to set you straight. So listen, determined to be a do-gooder. Put that goal in sight and go open other doors for yourself and ultimately others. Remember, whatever you want in life, you can have it. Our do-gooders are go-getters. So get up. And you get up, Rachel Dolezal. You ain't got to stay down.
That's right.
And go get it.
Go get it.